Welcome to Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Mass. I'm actually on camera this time. I totally forgot that I played this match on camera. Actually in the process of mulling down to 5, it seems. And we'll see if this is... Yeah, it's stuck at 5. I didn't remember if it went to 5 or 4. I am on Cephalid Breakfast versus Matt on Aluren. And leading out with a turn 1 fetch for a basic island. And going with an Aether Vial. Mull to 5, starting out pretty good with the Vial. I mean, that's going to shut off a lot of Matt's potential interaction. Of course, counterspells being a primary mode of stopping your opponent from winning the game. Gilded Goose for Matt, looking to set up some acceleration of his own. Of course, Aether Vial is also acceleration, essentially tapping for 1 mana here. If I have a 1 mana creature, Nomad and Core, Mother of Runes, and it looks like there is Nomad coming in here, and Cavern of Souls now for an uncounterable Cephalid. And that is it. That's a heck of a mull to 5. Uncounterable across the way. I'll tell you, for those that are not familiar with Cephalid Breakfast, I mean, the deck is legit. That was all uncounterable combo. The Vial making the Nomad and Core uncounterable, and then Cavern of Souls protecting the Cephalid. I mean, that's a powerful turn too. Every deck in the format really would need to be concerned about that type of opening. For those who have not seen the combo play all the way out, Matt, of course, very familiar with the combo. So scooping there, it will eventually result in milling out of the Cephalid Breakfast player's deck, and Narcomoebas enter the battlefield during that process, enabling your Cabal therapies to strip away any potential disruption your opponent might have, and then ultimately Dread Return to bring back Thassa's Oracle with no cards left in the library. It is a deck that became much more legit with the advent of Thassa's Oracle. I used to play all sorts of garbage cards in there to have a lethal Dread Return package. Now it's just a single Thassa's Oracle, a card that is actually totally reasonable on its own, to the point where I actually run multiple copies of the card, one in the sideboard right now, just because it seems to be the best way to get around graveyard hate. So a lot of the time, people will bring in things like Surgical Extraction, Leyline of the Void, and similar effects that would, in theory, stop a Dread Return. But the reality is, if you just have the Thassa's Oracle, you can just put it in from your hand. It's only a 2-mana spell. It's really no burden. Another Gilded Goose opening. Really cool to see Gilded Goose seeing play in Legacy. Has a lot of synergy with Oko. Really the primary reason for its inclusion. Of course, Noble Hierarch and Birds of Paradise. Also possibilities. But, I mean, the card does create a standstill against opposing Delvers, albeit at 4 mana each. You gotta pay the mana to create a token, a food token, then you have to pay the mana to sacrifice it. And wow, what a counter-heavy hand. And good reason to pause there. This Thoughtseize sees Stoneforge Mystic, Cephalid Illusionist, 3 Force of Wills in a daze. This Cavern of Souls is going to make something uncounterable. Will it be a Nomad? Or will it be a Stoneforge Mystic or a Cephalid? The Cephalid is taken, so it looks like it's going to be the Stoneforge plan, which may be enforceable given the amount of Force of Wills and Dazes in the hand. Now this would have been a turn 3 win potentially with all of those forces, so Stoneforge Mystic would have been able to grab a Shuko. And instead it's going to come down, and we'll see. From here, do you grab Shuko? Do you grab Batterskull? It's a decision. Batterskull is grabbed. This does make Oko and opposing removal much, much better, as this Stoneforge can potentially be removed, stranding that Batterskull in hand. Shuko, always just kind of a dangerous card that can come down and combine with that Cephalid Illusionist for lethal. And the potential Aluren is looming here. But again, I mean, just a crazy amount of counter magic right now in Breakfast's hand. But not too much can be done about Abrupt Decay. Stoneforge taken out. Those cards lined up very, very well for Matt. A Mother of Runes too late, as it no longer can protect against Abrupt Decay. However, if it gets an untap step, it'll be able to protect against... And Oko, and that's what I was about to say there. Oko is a major concern. Merits a Force of Will. So force pitching Force to stop Oko. And now Grand Abolisher, prompting Matt to check the text of the card. That is going to make it very difficult for Matt to actually get any type of efficiency out of his mana. So things like Gilded Goose now, instead of keeping up some counter magic and potentially playing around during the end step now, you've got to commit to making food and also sacrificing food. Only 2 cards left in Matt's hand. He makes a food and passes the turn. And at this point, the combo can come together pretty rapidly. Stoneforge Mystic. And that's like an ideal card there. So Stoneforge can grab the Shuko, enabling future Cephalid Illusionist to just win the game, but also now get Batterskull online. That is an incredibly strong draw. And now Mother of Runes is hanging around to prevent any type of shenanigans. Also works so well with Grand Abolisher because you've got to use your mana on your turn. Experienced players know that you can effectively double your mana by using your opponent's end step or really any time during their turn to cast your instance, then untap, and then have another go at removing their creatures. So Mother of Runes would potentially have to tap on my turn, and then when it goes to Matt's turn, the shields would be down. That is not going to be easy to do. Now we've got an Aluren being cast, a Force of Will, pitching Thassa's Oracle, and Matt Force of Will's back with no cards in hand. And this is a dangerous situation now. Any draw could potentially be game over, though it would require a little bit more luck than typical for Aluren. I believe Matt's not on the Recruiter plan, so he may be able to have a Euro or Ice Fang Coatl to draw a card, which could then draw something else. He's got to make a food during the end step, putting in Batterskull. Yeah, there doesn't seem to be a shotgun win. One of our remarkable tokens. I gotta get those on the website. Those are pretty cool. Those would be like a fun bonus incentive for people buying double masters or something. I still have to source the dry erase markers. They're really fun though. It's fun to draw your own tokens. In the game, I made a little germ there. Didn't take too long on it, as people are waiting on the game. A Brainstorm. Now Shuko already in hand. Brainstorm really needing to find a Cephalid Illusionist. That would be game over, as Aluren could enable. There's a Shuko, tossing it on Batterskull, and Voltroning to swing for 8. So at this stage, a Cephalid Illusionist being drawn would be game over. As long as there's another Thassa's Oracle in the deck, which I believe it does get sideboarded in this matchup. Matt needing to pass the turn, it would seem. And Grand Abolisher just proving to be a strong card here in terms of eliminating Matt's potential outs. He's got to crack a food token just to gain some life. And this Gilded Goose may be entering chump block territory. There's also a Dryad Arbor, which can help out the cause. And now during the upkeep, firing off a Limdul's Vault. And I think this is going to spell the end. Limdul's Vault, cheaper than the 3-mana alternatives. Though in this case, I mean, to be fair, Recruiter of the Guard would be less mana. I'm usually kind of highly judgmental of Recruiter of the Guard in this deck. However, Cephalid Illusionist is tutored up, and just the Cavern Harpy in hand in Matt's deck. Very little to help him out. A bunch of counter spells on the way, but you know, Force of Negation actually not really strong versus this deck. I mean, it can potentially stop a turn 1 Aether Vial, but that's about it, as the rest of the combo is creatures. So I wonder if that's even ideal to have in post board. That's an interesting question. All right, well, Cephalid Breakfast gets another one. We didn't get to see it mill out completely, but Thassa's Oracle, a hell of a magic card, enabling this wacky hodgepodge band of creatures to win games of Legacy. That is all for this one, but don't worry, there is a lot more. You can check out our older videos, and we're always putting out new videos from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Massachusetts. If you want to help the channel, of course, you can like, subscribe, share, tap that notification bell so you can know the next time our new videos come out. Thanks for watching.